Hey, before we get in this episode, can you do us a favor? Will you go ahead and subscribe to the channel?
Will you ring that notification bell?
And if you would, give this video a like. Well, enough of that mumbo jumbo. Let's get to the episode.
Let's talk developmentally speaking, glow up, and connecting through wrestling.
Hey everybody, I'm Morty.
And I'm Brian.
And on today's episode of Connecting Through Wrestling, we have a third generation NWA professional wrestler, the legacy AJ Cazana. AJ, how are you doing?
Oh man, I'm doing great. Today just relaxing. I just got home, so enjoying the house to myself for a little bit, and then probably go to bed here shortly, honestly.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. I can feel that for sure.
Call it a short night.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Most of our interviews with any professional wrestler starts out with the most generic, simplest question, which yours has an obvious answer, but we want to hear it anyway. How did you get into wrestling?
Well, it was an accident, actually. My dad actually never wanted me to get into professional wrestling. But I kind of they did something at his retirement show that he just got me and my little brother involved and kind of got the bug then and the excitement, and then went and trained with him a little bit, and then trained with Doc, and man, it fit. You know, it was like, why didn't I do this earlier? It could have been so much better, so much faster. But no, I just fell into it on accident. I mean, wrestling and sports runs in my family, and I wasn't playing football at the time, so I said, well, might as well give pro wrestling a try, and I've fallen in love with it. And we're here today.
Yeah, it's. I've had a couple opportunities to see you perform live, wrestle live, and I love the overall old school feeling of the legacy. It's safe to say you're one of my favorite heels right now.
Yeah, you popped when he walked in the room.
I did pop when he walked through. I go, we got to get him on the show because
you're like, oh my god.
Yeah, I'm a big NWA guy. I love the product, and I saw you in Oak Grove first. That was the first show I saw.
Oh yeah.
And I'm pretty sure I yelled, "Hey, nice jobber jacket," and you looked at me.
You did, yeah. I remember that comment exactly.
Yeah,
I don't know if I was wrestling. Was it Jake? It may have been Magic Jake, or it was either him or old Memsy. But
yeah, and you looked at me and said, "Thanks, it was my dad." My dad. Yep. So I was like, "Yep." Perfect answer. I love it. So yeah. So the NWA. What's it like backstage? I feel like it's got to be like a family almost, because it's such a close-knit ran show.
The National Wrestling Alliance is I've been in a lot of locker rooms that are great, and I've been in a lot of locker rooms that are really awkward to be in. But the NWA is by far the best locker room that I've ever been in, especially with so many talents and so many people back there on any given day. You got your vets in the locker room, which I was talking to Silas Mason. I don't know if you guys know Silas, but I was talking to him about it, and we were talking about, vets kind of when that group, like the Tyruses, the Latimers, the Aldises, when they broke in, how the vets were kind of maybe a little irritated, maybe a little salty, I guess this might be the right word. And not a lot of them really wanted to help out younger talent. But this group, I think that made a toll, or took a toll on them. And they've, Tyrus is incredible, Murdoch's incredible, all this. These guys that you walk in, you see, and you're like, holy crap, I've seen you and you and you and you on TV, and you're willing to talk to me and help me become a better professional wrestler. Simon Diamond, Pat Kenny is right there every time that you come through the curtain, or at the end of every show that you see him. The younger guys that have been there for a minute were very open with accepting new talent in to help build the promotion. And the older guys, the vets, are there, and they're willing to help people who show that they care about not just wrestling, but about the atmosphere of the NWA and the product that the NWA is putting out. Like the Tom Pritchard said it about Dad's locker room, and it translates to the same because we want the same kind of feel where like everybody in that locker room has the promotions and the business's best interests at heart.
Absolutely.
Like, sure, we all want to go get over and stuff. Like, hell, I want to make millions of dollars one day. But the NWA gave me a platform and gave me an opportunity, and I want to make the NWA the best wrestling promotion that it can be.
Yes.
And I think that, and then just that's a huge thing in the NWA. So it's by far the best locker room I've ever been in. Just to wrap that all around. And I get on tangents. If I ever talk too much, you guys just let me know.
No, this is a platform for you to do that. So we just facilitate with questions.
It's very blessed.
You talk about
it's cool to go into there like at the Crockett Cup, and you got Jeff Jarrett in the back. You've got George Panthus, who is apparently a family friend that I had just met, but my dad had known him. You got David Crockett. You got Billy Corgan. WPC, the man, the myth, the legend, freaking Smashing Pumpkins. Like it's hard not to mark out for that a little bit.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially if you do enjoy his music. Then you got, dude, man, it's a trip every time you walk in because you don't know who you're going to see.
Yeah.
At all.
Right. I used to work for a company called Dragon Gate USA and Evolve, and when we would do the Chicago loop, Billy would always come back there with his arms crossed, and he'd just watch, and he'd pay attention, just like that. The time. He'd always shake hands, and I always thought he was one of the nicest guys, and he loves wrestling, so he'd just learn, and he would talk to Gabe and the talent, and you always knew he was going to do something.
Well, he released a statement where I haven't seen the full video, and I don't know where I can find it, but somebody put it out. I think it was the NWA. It was a very short clip of him talking at Always Ready in Knoxville about how his vision for the NWA and what he wants from it, and how he wants it to be so successful. The way it's come in 4 years, and like he talked like a head football coach. And for me, again, football guy, I love coaches I can get behind, and like he's one of those guys I would run through a wall for. Like, it puts me at the top of my game every time I step through the curtain.
For sure.
At the National Wrestling Alliance, because I'm like, dude, I want to make this the best freaking promotion in the world. We've got our style, we've got our niche. I guess it's pro wrestling. It's not
pro wrestling.
It's not sports. It's got ties to the sports entertainment world, but it's got the throwback feel and the throwback look.
Nostalgia.
Of the Les Thatchers, the Ron and Don Wrights, the nostalgia of like those 50s professional wrestling. So yeah, it's great.
Like a lot of those people, like Trevor Murdoch's and Aaron Stevens and all them, they did the developmental process under Rip Rogers, and so like Rip always taught professional wrestling, and he's very vocal about sports entertainment. So it's nice to see them come to the NWA, and you guys get to work with people like that. Because when they were wrestling somewhere else, they didn't get to be who they were, or they were just thrown out if it didn't work the first time.
Right.
So it's nice to see talent like that, because they do have a lot of knowledge and to be able to share it, and they're so much more than what they were portrayed, but not a lot of people knew who they were before that. So it's nice to see them back working with people like you.
Yeah,
they're walking constant seminars too.
Yes. Oh yes, absolutely.
Like in a 10-minute car ride with Trevor Murdoch, I learned more about professional wrestling than I would have sitting at home watching it on TV.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I could relate to that. I was I rode from Indiana to Dyersburg, Tennessee with Rob Conway, and Rob the amount of knowledge that I heard when I wasn't sleeping, because I fall asleep in on car rides. I'm notorious for it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but what I did listen to and hear was just amazing, and car rides with veteran wrestlers is the best place to learn something or to laugh.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had Boogie Woogie Man Jimmy Valiant. I've had car rides with him, and the stories that he tells just are amazing, because that man is never out of character. even in the car ride, he tells his stories in character, and it's just amazing. I actually, on another YouTube channel, I have a video of that one of those car rides and him telling stories. But yeah, I have to admit the NWA it is my favorite thing going right now because it is professional wrestling, and you are very correct when you say that.
Yeah, that's why he wears their merch and not ours.
Dude, they've got some sweet merch. Speaking of which, NWA merch shop or whatever Danny Dills puts out, I'm not really sure. He talks a lot, and I stop listening usually about halfway through.
Right. Yeah.
After he says, "What's the gig?" I'm like, "Dude, get out of my ear."
So, we are from Seymour, Indiana, and we know someone who lives near here that you work with in the NWA. And how is Jay Bradley in the locker room? Is he?
He's crazy. No, he's cool. He's a unique fella. That's for sure.
Cool, because we're
Unique fella.
gonna have him on
Legursky's the one
eventually.
that's way out there. Legursky's way out there. Jay can kind of like own it in and just sit for a second, but Legursky's all over the place.
Yeah, we're hoping to have both of those guys on here eventually. So I just wanted to know what we got to look out
Good
for.
luck.
Okay, awesome. So, how long did you train before you got into the NWA?
Well, I've been going at this now for it'll be 2 years in August. So I'm approaching that 2-year mark of graduating JPWA. And yeah, I mean, I'm trying to remember when my first match with the National Wrestling Alliance was. Dude, it's been a hot minute. It was at the first power trip in Oak Grove, or second power trip in Oak Grove, because the first one I went and worked is I did some security work for them, which was my first taste of NWA wrestling ever, and just it's been a freaking roller coaster.
Absolutely.
Like I'm on the uphill right now, and it's I don't even remember what the question was. Oh, it's been about a year. It's probably what it took, honestly. Once I kind of got into my what I wanted to do, like as far as like my style of wrestling, I got a little more crisp in the ring. I got a little cleaner. I was bleached blonde. I went back to natural hair color, and then grew out the mullet a little bit and tried to pull off that 80s kind of look.
Yeah, I love the mullet. My wife says you need to cut it off so she'd think you're hot. That's the only thing. That's the only thing she says that cuts you out for her.
I mean, it's like it's great hair.
Tennessee Waterfall.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, absolutely. So, before the NWA was bought by William Patrick Corgan, it was owned by Bruce Tharp, and I got to be in the NWA for a little while. When I was in the NWA, it was more of a still territories. They had NWA Supreme, NWA Mid South, and stuff. And I was in NWA Supreme as a manager. Do you know the like some of the like lineage, the old school belts at all? This is just me
Not
telling you
as
something cool.
much as I'd like to admit.
Yeah,
Cause
that's fine. But
I unfortunately don't.
The reason why I connect to this NWA so much is that one of our main belts is the NWA Mid America title. It's just called the Mid America title now, but Billy Corgan let us keep the lineage with it. And it had, we're talking Randy Macho Man Savage, Rip Rogers, Bobby Eaton, Dutch Mantel, just all these names that had that. So I think that's probably one of the reasons why NWA also has a place in my heart, So what's so far? Who's your favorite opponent been?
Well, I've wrestled Big Strong Mims about 8 times. It feels like he's we work really well together, I guess. But Jake Dumas is probably Magic Jake.
Magic Jake.
It's been one of my favorites so far. Yeah, I mean, I've not really wrestled a ton of people. I've been with Jake twice, Mims 4 or 5 times. Um, not to spoil anything, but I know there's some tag matches coming out from taping.
Awesome.
Uh, and then like I was in Colby Carino was one that I'll get a hold of him at some point in the future, and I owe him a couple licks,
Yeah.
and he knows that. I owe him a couple potatoes, as the old fellers would say.
Well, he gave you the
no,
potato. You need to give him a receipt for the potato.
Not yet. Yeah. No, not yet. He knows. He knows what's coming.
Well, if you want to
He
send
did take a pretty sweet spine buster though, so that was cool.
once this comes out, you can send the link his way so he knows for sure.
No, I will. He's got it coming. I mean, I guess out of the ones, like, it has to be Jake. Jake was my first match with the NWA. It was his first match as Magic Jake,
Because he was Fable Jake before that, right?
which was a similar gimmick, but yeah, it was very similar, but not as dark and mysterious. So they debuted Magic Jake, and that was my first match.
Yeah, Magic Jake is great. The CJ with him, that crack.
The fabulous CJ.
It is.
Oh.
It's so good. Have you seen this?
I have not.
Oh my gosh! So Magic Jake is a magician, of course, and he comes out of the ring with a cigarette hanging out of his mouth.
I've seen that.
And
go watch the. We got a match from Knox Out.
yeah, that one's great. That is. Oh, we lost him. He's gone. Oh, you're back. Okay, we lost you for a second. I was like, oh, where'd he go?
You caught that? We got a match. We got a match from Knox Out that was really good. My dad was a part of it, so that was fun.
Yes, that was pretty cool for sure. So you you learned under Dr. Tom, and who are some of the names down there that you would recommend people go look for on YouTube and watch as well that you have worked with down there?
Well, I've got my clique, my coalition of fellas like Silas Mason, the Thrill Billy, his tag team partner, one of his tag team partners, Devin Dixon, they're part of Mason Dixon line. They've not tagged together in a while because he allegedly broke his femur or something. I don't know. That's a story you'll have to ask him when he comes on, whenever. But those two guys are old school Southern wrestling that are just. They're wealths of knowledge as well. They've both been around for about 6 or 7 years now, but they're so invested in their I guess their profession, our profession as professional wrestlers, that they've done so much film study and everything. You guys, I don't know if you got to meet Gustavo Aguilar. Was my opponent when you guys came to Sevierville. Also, coincidentally, my roommate. So. He's fantastic, little Latin lover. He's been on NWA.
Yeah, I actually danced with him as he went to the ring.
Of course you did.
I did.
Not surprised at all.
I did. I danced with him.
Not surprised.
Yeah. Well, we watched him in OVW as well before he went to the NWA. And
dude, there's tons of talent here that we use at Dad's show, especially like Axton Ray, who's been featured recently on GCW. So he's going that route. He's been with OVW now as part of Level X. Billy Tipton's one of my buddies here. Billy Tipton, Noah Hossman, a couple guys I've trained with at JPWA, and then I've taken a more IWTV route versus like I went with NWA. They've been all over the independent wrestling circuit. There's a lot of guys in the Carolinas and particularly of AML wrestling. If you ever get a chance to look at that roster, that has guys like Caprice Coleman was the former champion. Rad Attitude is their champion now. Gustavo is their prestige champion. Guys like the Dawson brothers. C.W. Anderson's there. And by God, this is the big one. George South is there as a part of the AML family. I love George South with every ounce of my heart. And of course, like we got Kerry Morton too, but you guys know Kerry. Everybody knows Kerry. I'm not going to put him over.
I managed across the ring from him back when he was 14, 15 years old, snot-nosed little kid.
Oh, yeah.
And I managed...
Still a snot-nosed little kid.
Yeah, I managed Todd Morton and Eric Draven against Ricky Morton and Johnny Justice and he was their manager, and I wasn't allowed to put my hands on him, but man, it would have been funny.
And then there's a couple guys that kind of like that are great, like JDL Jonathan Llewellyn is one of the guys that at the promotion, the SBCW promotion, that the belt is right here over my left shoulder. You guys may see it on your right, but he's an older gentleman, not old, but he's older than me. I think he's in his 40s. Who knows? But he did old school wrestling. He's got a great mind for the business. He's helped me a ton, and I've told him hundreds of times, dude, I'd love to see him with the NWA. I mean, like, there's a lot of people around here. Nick Iggy, Dylan McQueen's fun to be around. Of course, we got Kenzie Page here. That's I'm just thinking East Tennessee specifically at this point.
Yeah.
But there's there's about 10 or 15 people,
Awesome,
probably in the whole, I guess from middle to East Tennessee that I would look at just in Tennessee alone, and be like, yeah, like you could put any of these guys in a carload, guys or girls, and like it'd be one of the best carloads in the country by far.
I actually got to experience the Tom Pritchard and Glenn Jacobs wrestling school do a show a few years back in Knoxville.
Was it the Bobby Eaton show?
It was at CreepyCon.
Okay.
They did a show it was a horror convention at one of the buildings there at the State Fairgrounds, and I went down there, and I maybe might know who this is. I can't think of his name right now, but I was actually there with a YouTuber named Jacob the Carpetbagger, and he does videos going across the United States, and it's his job, it's his YouTube channel. Well, I'm friends with him, and people know me on his channel, so I went to that wrestling show, and we were watching it, and I immediately got into my Morty character and started, I was cheered for the heel and all this, but I'm trying to think of the heel's name. He does a Scottish gimmick. I can't think of.
No idea.
No, darn.
Unfortunately, not off the top of my head.
I can't think. I'll have to look him up. Yeah, but I have seen, and that I could see how you transferred from Dr. Tom's school to the NWA so seamlessly, because that show was an old school show, and I absolutely loved it.
He is a stickler for the fundamentals, never going out of style in professional wrestling, and that's old school wrestling in a nutshell. Was fundamental wrestling. And if you guys have ever watched any collegiate or amateur wrestling, like you would see the crossover between that and true pro wrestling, where you got what's the match? He's gonna kill me for not knowing this. Was it Terry Funk and Harley Race, or Dory Funk and Harley Race? I think Dory Funk and Harley Race, where I think Harley worked a headlock. Well, Harley worked I think Dory Funk worked the leg, like the toe hold. And then Harley, I think, worked an arm or a headlock for 16 minutes. And just, that's his favorite match to show people. That's like one of the first matches you watch when you're doing film study with Tom. And, he's a big stickler for that. But, yeah, no doubt, those JPWA shows are very, very old school. I wish he'd run more, but, they
absolutely
got nowhere to run them right now. So
it reminds me of talk about that match. Reminds me of a match between Adrian Adonis and Rip Rogers. I swear there's one bump in the entire match, and the crowd doesn't sit down.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's amazing that you could pull that off. Okay, those
are my favorite matches to go watch, because I don't bump a ton either, if you ever watch any of my matches. So it's to see how you can connect with the crowd and get the crowd up and down and all around without killing your body.
Yes. Oh, this guy knows.
This thing ain't just for wearing hats.
Yeah.
Pal.
Yeah. This guy knows exactly what it's all about. So if there's one thing that you could change about today's product other than NWA, what would you change?
Well, how much time do we have?
As long as you need to talk, I suppose.
Well, in a world where it's sports entertainment, I wish it would go back to professional wrestling a little bit more. I understand the shorter attention spans of people and having to do maybe a one or two more things to bring them back up, just to catch their attention again. Because in a world where, of course, I'm using my cell phone for this, but in a world where we've got computers in our pockets, now the average attention span is what, like 5 seconds. Um, and again, like I'm going to get rambling on this, so you'll have to clip it up and make it sound real good. But no, man, like you look at your big money matches for WWE. It's Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns. It's guys that look like professional wrestlers or that look like they could legitimately tear your freaking head off.
Yes.
Roman Reigns, I've noticed this. I said this when COVID happened because I trained during COVID, and I knew at the time like it would come back. But like that old school Memphis wrestling style where you do mess with the crowd a little more than going out and hitting 100 spots, whatever, 100 flips, 100 jumps, all this stuff. It's gonna come back, and I think Roman's a great example of that, where he is in an arena with thousands of people and still takes the time to talk smack to the first 20 rows.
Beautiful.
And
Yes.
get them engaged. And of course, I'm not saying Memphis wrestling is the way. I wish it was because I could do a lot of that. But I just wish it would go back more to pro wrestling or go back to guys. Silas Mason and I have tagged together a few times, and if you guys get the chance to look up a picture of Silas, I'll talk about him a lot because he's one of my favorite people. Before I got into wrestling, he was one of the guys I enjoyed watching. But we're in a world right now where people, and I don't think he said it right, but people want to play professional wrestler. They want to, and I'm going to knock you for liking Danhausen. Danhausen's an example of this. Because when Danhausen walks in a room and he's not painted up, nobody knows who he is. Nobody looks at him twice. Great story, random story. In Disney World, huge fan of Disney World right here. I was in Disney World with one of my buddies. Beautiful Orlando, Florida. We were at, this is pre-COVID, we were at Magic Kingdom, or Animal Kingdom. Place is packed. And we're just walking around. I've got my buddies with me, and this beautiful woman walks by. Like beautiful enough to like catch your attention, turn your head like, whoa, that's not supposed to be here. One of those things. And I'm like, who is this short, little scrawny dude that's like holding on to her or whatever? And I do a double take, and it's Johnny Gargano. And that's I use that story as like, and Nick, I recognized and noticed Candice LeRae before I recognized Johnny Gargano. And Johnny had been on NXT. It was during the rise of NXT, and he's a professional wrestler, but he's every bit of 5'6", and I think I would change the fact. And I hate that I hate that it is this way, but like where everybody's playing a professional wrestler, and there's not a ton of pro wrestlers. I'm not saying you can't be short and be a pro wrestler. I'm not saying that at all for you people that are going to try to bury me on Twitter or whatever, the tweet bot. But like where you got your giants, like Silas is 6'6", I'm 6'3". Like when we walk into a room, and this is exactly for almost verbatim what he said. I feel this way 100%. When we walk into a room, people know something's up. People know we're not normal people. We're both built like brick houses. We're both we've got beautiful mullets, and we just, the energy that we bring with us, and I guess the energy and the attention that we garnish when we walk around, people know, depends on what part of the country you're in. In North Carolina, we go to a bar and we walk by, they wouldn't let us in, one, because we weren't wearing sleeves, and two, we walk by the back alley and one of the bartenders is there, and she says, "Hey, are you guys wrestlers?" And it's like, yeah, as a matter of fact, we are. So like, I think it's just so larger than life people, and like physically, I don't know, man.
See, well, I agree with that. I'm not super. I'm 5'11", but
Kayfabe, bring back that. That's what I want. Sorry,
amen.
Sorry, that was just a random thought.
Amen. I mean, we'll definitely get back to it, but with talk about being 6'3", like I'm 5'11". With my boots, I'm 6'1" because the lift, you know the gimmick. But
I sure do.
But I've had these ever since I could grow them out, even before I got into professional wrestling, because when it comes down to it, professional wrestlers are all somewhat attention whores.
Oh yeah, we all want to be the center of attention.
Right.
There's a reason.
So
we're
I grew these
entertainment.
out as early as I could, and it became part of my gimmick. I'm the mutton chop millionaire. That's that, you know. So I'm this I'm a big fat guy with mutton chops, and I, you know, I scream funny. I make sure my voice goes real high. You know, it's all about the character development, but it also helps to actually have the size and so I understand exactly what you're saying.
That's it's about being, for me, it's about, I want more real in my professional wrestling. And I know people out there that hate pro wrestling, about, oh well, whatever, this is blah blah blah. I'm like, but you get what I'm kind of getting at. Yeah, you have to have size. You have to look like a professional wrestler. You have to act like a professional wrestler, and you should be athletic, like in some form of capacity. That's why I don't know how the WWE is going to go with getting these like NIL people, these Division I athletes or whatever. I'm sure they'll find a handful of people. And for those of you who don't know, here's a shameless plug. I was a Division I athlete. That's all I want to say. But like I get them doing it because you can teach them how to wrestle. Now, do they have the love or do they have the passion for it that your indie wrestlers who are out here working for $10, $20, 12 hours down the road are going to have just to make a name for themselves? Probably not. They probably won't understand the hardships and the heartaches. They'll probably be a little prima donna about it. But it's no, like, they look like athletes. They are athletes. And that brings a realness to professional wrestling that, again, I love that Danhausen. I enjoy Danhausen stuff. But, like, he paints his face, and when Sting and Warrior painted their faces, it was a completely different ballgame. Like, they scared the bejesus out of me. Danhausen wouldn't, I guess, if I caught him in a back alley. Maybe if his face was painted, but if he wasn't, So it's bring an aspect of real needs to be brought back to pro wrestling that has been long gone. And even with the Undertaker as I guess an example, I'm trying to think of every possible question or person or skeptic could say, oh well, the Undertaker was a dead man. It's like, well, sure, he was also 6'9", 300 plus pounds, and could legitimately kick your butt. And he showed that when he came back as Bacher Taker,
Yeah.
good old Bacher Taker.
Absolutely. So, and you say bring back kayfabe, and I couldn't agree more with that. But I also see where some people say kayfabe's dead. I believe that there is a happy middle now that we need to have, because as much as I want to be able to believe everything I see in wrestling, it's no longer going to be possible. I mean, unless we would have to wait a whole couple generations to grow, let the young kids now grow up. If we changed it to right now where kayfabe was a thing, it wouldn't be believed unless every person that knew, that was smart to it, shut up and didn't tell their kids, or it just won't work. You had so
I will never be the bearer of bad news for children.
Right,
ever.
Absolutely. Me neither.
They're gonna get me. So if I'm a heel, you're gonna get me as a heel. Now I will interact with people even as a heel. I just do it dickishly.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the thing again, like, we want to bring back kayfabe. We want to bring back some sort of real, or like people talk about it, whatever. Like what you see from this, the only difference between me and what you'll get in the ring is what I wear. I dress like this most of the time, my NWA stuff, tank tops, whatever, that old school 80s, my fanny pack, my short shorts, whatnot. Yeah. But like the personality and the attitude that I'm going to give you and the way I'm going to talk to you in real life is what you're going to get from wrestler AJ. Like, there's no like complete divide of AJ Cazana the guy and AJ Cazana the wrestler. It's the same thing. I just know the attire changes.
The best way
That's about it.
Yeah, Rip Rogers says the best characters. I believe it was Rip said this was or it might have been somebody else. I can't think right now, but it was the best wrestling characters is basically yourself, but cranked up to 11.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And that's clearly what Morty is. Matt and Morty are two different people, but they are the same. It's hard to explain. Like, when
it's the same
I'm.
personality.
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah,
Right.
no, I get
right.
it.
But.
Of course, I'm in on the act.
Yeah, right. So it's one of those things where I can't, when I'm not at a wrestling show, I'm not going to walk up to a little kid and be like, "Get back, kid," or I'll give you the discipline your parents should have. You know what I mean? But if I'm,
that's what I do because I believe that though.
okay,
I coached football for almost 10 years. I coached wrestling for almost 10 years, and I see a lot of kids that could have been disciplined a little bit more.
oh, wait,
Especially
no, I
when
truly
I'm
believe
out there
that
saying,
too.
"Hey,
But
kid, go do scalded dogs or go flip this tire for 100 yards because you talked back to me."
Yeah.
I'm not asking for your opinion. I'm asking you to do what I tell you to do because that's my job and that's your job.
Yep.
So yeah, no. When you walk up to a kid and say, "Look, I'm going to smack them," yeah, no, they probably deserve it.
yeah, yeah.
What's the long-term goal?
Man, be happy, make a lot of money. No, I didn't even be about the money really. I want to be happy, dude. That's it. Long-term goal is to be happy, be as healthy as I can be doing this stuff. And
Man, I was hoping he was going to say be managed by Mortimer Blankenship, but he didn't say it.
He's over here looking for a
Job.
I don't need a manager
No.
unless you're wanting to get me bookings. If you want to do all my social media stuff, you're more than welcome to.
Man.
But nah, man, be happy, make a living doing this, so I don't have to go to a real job. I don't have to step foot out of my house unless it's to go work out or run an errand or whatever for my job of professional wrestling. That's the goal.
Yeah.
And that's what we're all in it for. But I want to be the best I want to be the best professional wrestler and go as high and as far as I can and take as many people that I love and enjoy and that are my dudes with me. And if you remember, or if you'll remind me, Morty, I'll send you the link. I don't know if you guys knew this, but there was a WBIR here in Knoxville did a documentary about my family. And like John, my great grandfather John, my dad, and then I got a little clips of me from Always Ready that I'll send to you. That's got some stuff that.
It's awesome.
I mean, it's basically it's just how I feel, dude. I want to be happy. I want to take my people with me, and I want to make a living. That's it.
Absolutely.
That's the right mindset to have. That's how it
Yeah.
was when I was working with Dragon Gate and stuff. It was you were a clique, you traveled together, you were out, seeing the city, doing your job, making these memories, living the dream. If bigger opportunities come, that's great, that's amazing. But this right now is the best time of your life because you can be in your bed every night, if you choose to be. As to where later on you're going to be everywhere.
Yeah, and I want to leave the business as a whole better than I found it.
Yeah.
Very realistically, that's the cliche, let's get likes on Facebook answer, but there's a lot of bad in professional wrestling, and I hate to say it. There's a lot of bad. There's a lot of just people that shouldn't be. Here's your catching heat part, Morty. This is ready for this. You can use this as a clip or quote or whatever. Professional wrestling is for everybody to spectate.
Yeah.
It's not for everybody to be a part of.
Yep, I agree.
And I will take that to my grave. If it gets me heat in locker rooms, that's fine. There's not very many people that would look at me and be like, "No, you're wrong." That could beat me up. So I'll take my chances. But no, man, I want to leave it better than I found it and do all those good things. So,
Absolutely, for sure.
yeah.
So, where can people find you on social media?
On Twitter and TikTok, it's AJ Cazana. Facebook is AJ Cazana or Facebook.com///, the Rookie of the Century.
There you go.
And on, what's the other? Instagram, it's AJ Caz1.
Very nice.
So
what we got to look forward to seeing you doing soon without, if you could say anything. I know you guys film weeks out. But
you'll catch me on NWA USA, hopefully coming up soon. I'll be out in St. Louis for 74. I'll be in Nashville for TV tapings then. I've got a few local shows, SPCW this weekend. I've got some Texas dates coming up. I'm trying to nail the details in for a Wisconsin debut. Trying to get back down to Florida. So if anybody in Florida wants to book AJ Cazana and a great carload of Tennessee wrestlers, you let me know.
Have you worked in Indiana yet?
I have. I worked up there once or twice for Flophouse at one point back in when they were doing their secret stash.
You worked with Schwartzy.
I worked with the Schwartzy. Yeah. I would like to get back up to Indiana. There's a couple places up there I'd like to go. I got some family up there I'd love to see.
Well, I'll see about getting you up for Supreme Wrestling.
Oh, let's do work, man.
Yeah, for sure.
I want to go anywhere and everywhere.
Absolutely.
I'm in the process. Dad's promotion, Joe Cazana Promotions, is in the process of. We've got 2 shows currently lined up, with the hopes of getting one for each month, kind of like true traditional spot shows, where we go in and do like a fundraiser type thing for a school. Like, so for example, for a school, like in December, I know we've got one for the sheriff's department back where my dad lives. We do Christmas for the kids.
Awesome.
All the gate and stuff go to the kids. I'd like to incorporate something like a milk jug fund, like my great grandfather used to do. I learned about that recently. You just pass around. He would pass around actual milk jugs and collect change and stuff and donate it to help get some kids some stuff in Knoxville when he was running. And we're trying to find a place so we can start doing our TV tapings again, and get our actual TV product out, either on Title Match or Pro Wrestling TV. Or worst case scenario, I've told Dad, I said, dude, I don't care if we have to put it on YouTube. We need to get this out because it's something that people need to see.
Right. Absolutely.
So
Sure.
we've got 20 episodes right now, and it's just and waiting. By no time to put this whole library somewhere so somebody can watch it.
Absolutely.
I know some people in Florida I can get a hold of, the World Wrestling Network down there. So let me see if I can send a message down there and see if we can get a carload down there.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for coming on, AJ. Thank you for being a professional wrestler in a world full of sports entertainment, and we do appreciate it. And we'd like to talk again.
I'm going to go put the shovel up right now, so I'll stop burying people.
Anytime.
You're doing great. We'd be happy to have you on anytime you want to come on and talk.
Absolutely.
Anything. All right. Thank you so much. Have a good one.
I appreciate you guys. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Hey, everybody, it's Morty.
It's Brian.
And thank you for watching today's episode of Developmentally Speaking.
If you could, please click that subscribe button.
And don't forget to punch that bell icon so you can get notified whenever we go live or drop a new video every Monday. Well, thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you on the next
Developmentally Speaking.